Hello Manchester United fans, good morning, welcome along to Forever United TV. We're bringing you completely up to date with all of the Manchester United news. First of all, this morning we're going to be talking about Elliot Anderson again. More from the story that came last night, this time on the pricing of Manchester United's bold bid for Elliot Anderson and what they might be gambling here if going in for him in January. We're going to talk about that as well. Shea Lacey last night, if you haven't seen it, more talk about him, all in a good way everybody. I'm sure if you haven't seen social media highlights of the game last night for the under-21s, you will be blown away again. Another fantastic performance by him. All of the other Manchester United news circulating the football club as well, with more outgoings rumoured to be happening possibly this January as well. Your live chats in on all of that, please, everybody. Hello, welcome. Hope you had a good night. Hope everyone is okay. We have got plenty to talk about this morning, so let's crack on with that. Of course, please pop your likes on the video if you're enjoying the constant updates and content here on Forever United TV, and hit that subscribe button. Also, get your comments in later on as well if you have missed a live show. Don't miss out, have your say. I've been sieving through quite a few of them recently, of which there are hundreds and hundreds of them, so I can't get to everybody, sorry, but there are some really interesting takes as well on what's happening with Manchester United right now. And there is I don't know if it's just because of this channel and what we're doing here and how positive we are, but there is more of an upbeat feeling going on. Also, update on Spurs' 10-man injury list, potentially, for this weekend. We'll get into that later on as well this morning. Hello, welcome, everyone who's in the live chat right now. Let's get into this news and give me your thoughts on this, please. We're starting with Elliot Anderson. We talked about it last night. We touched on it a little bit with news that was coming out and the reports, again, which everybody's talking about. So we're going to do a little bit more on top from that report and a little bit more detail, a bit more of a deep dive of Manchester United's bid. I'm just going to read out an extract from it, and this is pretty much in line with the pricing and what we're expecting Manchester United to go in with, and what Manchester United are going to get told probably by Nottingham Forest. Manchester United confident that Forest will sell and are confident they will seal the move. That was the story last night and what we were speaking about. And then going into this morning, again looking into it a bit deeper, well, it's clear Nottingham Forest are intent to rebuff any transfer approaches for their star man. The outlet goes on to reveal Nottingham Forest have drawn a line in the sand, a big money bid or back off, basically, is what they're saying. We understand that Nottingham Forest are setting their stall out around 80 million, so straight away. That has come down from the reported 120 million that was being thrown around last week. So we said this all along. Elliot Anderson, realistic price tag, cannot be above 100 million. They can look at other targets, but like we said, them targets haven't been sold yet. Manchester United are going in early in January to try and maybe sway the thought of them prices in terms of what the clubs actually think these players are actually worth. They're not worth over 100 million. No one is worth over 100 million. And clubs need to be realistic with it. So, we understand Forest have set their stall out at around 80 million. Though United believe they can get a deal struck for closer to 60 million. Now, that's a little bit of a undercut. I mean, I've put a poll up there in terms of how much you think Elliot Anderson would go for if he does make a move. And it's not just to Manchester United. What is that player worth if he transfers anywhere? 60 to 70 million, 70, 80 or more. Get into the poll and let me know what you think Elliot Anderson will go for. Not for what you think he's worth. Change the thought process with that one if you can. Because if Elliot Anderson is sold by Forest to any club, what do you reckon in this current market he will go for? I'll read on a little bit more. Whether the deal can actually or eventually be struck remains to be seen, but United's offer should certainly bring both sides to the table. Crucially, United will be hoping to compromise. A compromise can be reached, especially with Anderson reportedly being very keen on a move to Old Trafford. That being a very, very important part in this deal as well. As you can see going across the bottom of your screen, that's another piece from this article. Ruben Amorim is obsessed with Elliot Anderson, and Manchester United are going to do everything in their power to try and get him to the football club. That's the general thought on what is being reported at the moment from insiders at Manchester United, from that talk that was going on with Elliot Anderson after the game, against Nottingham Forest, what Andy Mitten said on Talk of the Devils podcast as well. And of course, the reports previously to that, like this one actually does touch on as well, which is that Elliot Anderson is very, very keen on the move. Forever now, over the last few weeks, not forever, but over the last few weeks, we have heard that Elliot Anderson's head has been turned. He is open to a move to Manchester United. United do have the funds there to go in for him and are willing to back this bid and go in for Elliot Anderson. So the line in the sand has been drawn. Nottingham Forest will be brought to the table with a bid from Manchester United, is the report, and that bid is going to go in January. Now, these are just what people are saying. This might not happen. It might happen in the summer. We still have to bear that in mind with this here. Nottingham Forest are not going to want to lose a prized asset in the middle of the season while still fighting relegation potentially. They're going to need a replacement to come in. And maybe these talks now have already hit the mark because Manchester United want to give Nottingham Forest a chance to find somebody else to come in and take the place of Elliot Anderson. Look, we can only guess and we can only look at this and say, realistically, Manchester United are chancing their arm with any bid for Elliot Anderson. I do believe that anything coming in now, and you look at everything that's been reported, and just to run through a few things that we said. So people are reporting off the back of what Andy Mitten said yesterday, and then this report that broke last night. Price inevitably the challenge here, excluding a player sales. Nottingham Forest annual PSR losses running at 50 to 60 million. So they need big fees for player sales. Anderson and Morgan Gibbs White are biggest sellable assets for Forest. Book value at 23, 27 million respectively. Sales on both at 70 million and cover from their PSR. So on the books for Nottingham Forest, Gibbs White and Anderson right now are at 23, 27 million. So what they owe, and if PSR is to be brought into play, anything around the 70 million mark would more than cover what they need to do in terms of their 50 to 60 million pound PSR running loss at the moment. They need to sell players. Manchester United could be prepared. And the only reason we are getting this news now about Elliot Anderson is because Nottingham Forest financial year, according to these reports, are going to come short with the new rules that are being put in. And remember, we spoke about these rules before. There are warnings, there are big fines, and there are 6 points. And then I think it's a point per every million over the top as well of going over the PSR threshold. Say, for instance, if you go over it, it's 6 points. And then the points add up. I can't remember exactly how that is broken down. Again, forgive me if I'm wrong on that. But the report was it's going to be 6 points deduction. And then, of course, you will get an extra point per million or something like that over the PSR threshold. So 50 to 60 million loss right now. The financial year ends in June. There is no extended transfer window this summer because of the World Cup. And if this is the case and the financial figures, which usually can't be fudged or extravagant, is that the right word? Exaggerated, sorry. Yeah, exaggerated. Then you would look at that and go, Nottingham Forest really in January do have to sell players. Their biggest assets, like the report says there, Gibbs White and Elliot Anderson. Manchester United could be looking to take full advantage of this right now and go in with, yes, you guessed it, exactly 60 million, which will cover the loss which Nottingham Forest are running at right now, according to the figures and what has been said. Obviously, that may change a little bit here and there, and it might not be completely on the money, but every single football club's figures are out there and everybody can see them. They're in the public eye. They have to be released. So if you're doing the maths and football finance experts are actually running these numbers, then you would say that Forest are in trouble. And January would come, because next season, if Nottingham Forest do survive, you'd expect them to. If they do survive, then that points deduction could come in next season for them and really hamper what they are going to do going forward. So can they get a replacement in? Can they get a loan player in to replace Elliot Anderson just to cover their financials for this season? Obviously, if they don't continue in Europe, they are going to really struggle going into next season also financially. So again, We've seen this before. It has happened. They obviously had to sell Anthony Elanga to try and purchase some players. They've gone over that with the amount of players that they have brought in. This was a big fallout with Nuno and Marinakis at the start of the summer, which is why Nuno came out with Edu being the new football director at Nottingham Forest, saying that they couldn't bring in certain players or they weren't able to strengthen enough. Fallout 3 managers down the line, the situation isn't going to get any better. And the Premier League do have a bit of a stranglehold on the PSR situation now. And Forest have also fallen short of this before, and they have got a history for it under Marinakis. So, again, there is a lot changing financially and real-wise in the Premier League. And at the moment, the reports are Nottingham Forest are going to be falling short of that and could be forced into making a sale in January just to balance their books. Interesting on that side of things as well, with everything that is going on right now. But Manchester United's bid is thought to be enough to maybe grab Forest's attention and bring them to the negotiation table. I think this would be Manchester United's plan all along. Let's just get Forest in and get Forest negotiating, I think, is the most important part. Let's get them to the table and let's see what we can work. Let's gauge it, because the Carlos Baleba situation is completely different. They are completely in the black. So they have the financial freedom, Brighton. They don't need to sell and they can charge whatever they want. They have made so much money in player sales. Their books are as good as anybody's for PSR right now. I think, in fact, at the start of the season, Chelsea were top and Brighton was second in terms of their PSR security and how much they could spend this summer, which they didn't even do. And so, again, running that ship well over at Brighton, down at Brighton, and it's a completely different scenario. So if Brighton are going to hold out with Carlos Baleba, then Manchester United have got other targets. And right now, Elliot Anderson, going off what we've seen so far, very familiar scene with Cunha and Ruben Amorim last season. Something similar again has happened this season already with Anderson and Ruben Amorim. He has reportedly had his head turned and he's fully interested and open to a move to United. United are ready to strengthen in January. Like Romano said, talks are already ongoing behind the scenes as to what can happen, how much can they spend. Manchester United right now probably sit in a very, very comfortable position financially to bid for somebody in January, whereas other clubs might have to wait out until the summer again. So is it advantage Manchester United? Could they be moving forward here with what they saved in the summer and going in for Elliot Anderson? That's what's being reported. And when you put it all together, it does look a little bit more promising regarding the whole transfer potentially happening. I'm still 50-50 on Anderson actually happening in January. I would say these reports do give me confidence, but I still think it's a tough deal to make, and I'll just wait it out and I'll wait for more news to come out. But this is definitely a goer for Manchester United. The gamble in this is putting Nottingham Forest off and going in with a ridiculously low bid in their eyes, and them just saying it's off completely. It is off completely for this deal, and they get sent packing. We will see if that happens. I think Marinakis will know exactly what's going on financially and will be open to negotiations. But again, that will be just negotiations, and whether or not he agrees a deal, we will see, won't we? Let's get into some of the live comments on this and let's get the ball rolling there. And Robbie says with a super chat, first of all, offer Forest, say 85 on 1st of Jan, test them out. Do you want to go in that high? I don't think you want to go in that high. I reckon United are probably right around the 60-70 million mark. Test them out at that. I think that is good money. That's Forest more than doubling their money in what they paid for Elliot Anderson. So I reckon if you start at that price, then let them then bump you up a bit. I wouldn't go in that high straight away. Give me your thoughts on what you would go in as well with, people. Ant says, another super chat. Thanks for that super, Robbie, by the way. Meatball Marinakis will try and do us over. Fact. Yeah, but even he is realistic when it comes to PSR. He cannot afford a point deduction. Cannot afford that. I know it will creep in next season. So there's no drama of that this season happening. But still, you've got to think ahead and plan ahead. And well, they can get the money now and stop that happening. I think that might be their only option. Good morning, Adam. As normal, my favourite show. Thank you very much, Keith. I love that. Keep them thoughts and comments coming in, everybody. Let me know what you're thinking about all of this potential transfer activity that's coming our way in January. Get in there. 85, take it or leave it on the 1st of Jan. Robbie again with that one. Huggy Boy says, if we buy Anderson in January, other teams will think, oh crap, here they come. Could it be a statement if we go out and buy somebody in January? It really could. Manchester United with Elliot Anderson in their team for the back end of the season is a completely different Manchester United going forward. I would actually say if United bought Anderson in January, we could challenge properly for that top 4. I really do think that sort of signing would make a massive difference for Manchester United. Belabor is garbage this season. Stay clear, says Robert. Okay, offer 63.5 then, says Robert with another one. Legend, mate. Thank you so much for all them super chats. And everybody else who has so far today popped a super chat in there. Let's check out some of the other comments as well in here. And please do get involved in the poll as well, everybody. 60 to 70 million, 70 to 80 million, or more than 80 million. I'm asking the question, how much do you think Elliot Anderson will go for if he is sold? They're your 3 options in the poll, everybody. Anderson is worth 55 mil max. Bruno joined in January 2, and that didn't cost more than 70 million. That was a long time ago, and inflation has rose from then, mate. Sorry, so we'd have to take that into consideration. Offer them 60 mil and Mainu on loan for the rest of the season. We cover his wages. Apparently Newcastle didn't have a sell-on clause. What a mistake. Yes, no sell-on clause for Elliot Anderson. That report came out a couple of months ago, actually, when this all started. A few weeks ago, sorry, not a couple of months. A few weeks ago when this all started to really bubble up regarding the potential move for Elliot Anderson. The Newcastle news on there not having a clause or a buyback clause or anything like that, or sell-on clause, was around the time when it was being reported that Elliot Anderson had had his head turned. So, again, the importance of no buyback clause and no sell-on clause, if anybody is asking, well, it means that it's all profit for Nottingham Forest if there is no sell-on clause, i.e. if there's a sell-on clause of 20, 25%, sometimes 50%, like Manchester United, for instance. If we sold Mason Greenwood for, let's just say, 87 million, if he was sold by Marseille to Barcelona or Madrid for 87 million, then Manchester United, with their sell-on clause, would receive approximately, I would say, I think it's around about 30 million quid of that. Forest don't have to deal with that, so everything that they make sale-wise from Elliot Anderson goes into their finances. And no buyback option means that there isn't a set price and there isn't a first refusal to Newcastle if he was up for sale again and they wanted to go back in for Elliot Anderson. So both of them cases not being there for Newcastle in this is very good news for Manchester United. It means there is a clean slate and they can go in and start the bidding at what they want. Newcastle, I don't think, can match Manchester United in terms of going for him in January with their financial situation. And again, I said it last night, don't forget Manchester United sold Garnacho, sold Antony, also got rid of big wages off the books in Jadon Sancho, all in the last knockings of the transfer window. Manchester United spent 18 million on deadline day on Senna Lamens. So you could effectively say, financially, Manchester United are in a very, very good position still, with not spending as much later on in the window. I know we spent before in the window, but don't forget, Matheus Cunha came in on the previous summer's transfers and finances. So we bought Mbumo, Ncesco and Lamens in this year's financials. So have we still got room off the back of that? You would say yes, with what Manchester United sold on the last days of the window. So that still is there for United, and there is plenty of room financially on the wage budget to bring another player in January. So that's something that we always have to consider as well with it, in terms of what the wages are. If somebody else moves on, like a Xerxes or even a Mainu, both of their wages off the books would clear the way again for another player to come in for Manchester United. And it is big. People don't take into consideration the fact that we have just released this year, in this financial year, approximately 30 million in wages for both Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho put together. It's probably more. It's around about 35 actually when you put Rashford's full wage in. That's what we've saved. Now, there is a structured instalment package easily there to be made for Elliot Anderson, and a wage that would not be substantial, wouldn't be ridiculous for Manchester United either. So that, with the players we sold like Garnacho and Antony in the last knockings of the window, definitely put United in a good position for that one. And United about to get a windfall. Barca can't afford Rashford. A buyout fee will be a minimum auction for him. Well, that's in the summer, and that's obviously next year's financials. But again, if you can steal the match, the only reason we're talking about this, like we could talk about Rasmus's money, Rashford's money, and all of that coming in the summer. That's for a different window. This financial year right now, Manchester United played it very clever at the end of the window. Now they're in a position in January where other teams are not. Instead of going out and buying a midfielder in the last couple of weeks of the transfer window in the summer because we couldn't get Baleba, they stuck with what they had and now could reassess it and go back in January. I think Manchester United's plan could have been all along that we might be able to get one of these targets in January. You don't know. I'm guessing at that. I'm only guessing. I'm not saying that's a definite, but why would we not buy somebody in? And now we're hearing that Ruben Amorim doesn't want players that are quick fixes, which would only mean proper targets again. And if Nottingham Forest's financial figures are the way they are, then you could look at that as a great opportunity for Manchester United to be ahead of all of the competition and be there ahead of everyone else that wants Anderson because they haven't got the money in place in January. And this bails out Nottingham Forest before their financial year ends on June 30th. Just look at it that way. That's how we can probably say that these talks are realistic if you are trying to argue the point for buying him in January. Obviously, it's still difficult to get him over the line, and that's the argument against. Would he leave Forest now? We don't know. The rumours say he would, and that's probably, I would say, why Manchester United are actually going all in for him. If they feel like the player will go to United, then I think that's why United are in for him. They will go all out for Anderson if they feel like they can get it done. This is how they operate, and we've seen this in the summer. Joe says, who does our negotiating, Adam, as we have previously been terrible at this. So I would pay in case we end up insulting Forest and they shut us down. Well, we've not been embarrassing with it, mate. It's Matt Hargreaves, Manchester United's chief negotiator. If you look at the summer, Joe, listen to what Benjamin Sesko's agent was saying. A very, very shrewd and difficult, hard negotiator in Matt Hargreaves. We got Patrick Dorgu on a really cheap deal. We got the right price for Brian Mbeumo. We got a good price for Matthias Cunha. I think Manchester United are in good hands in this department. And now Matt Hargreaves is being backed up by a proper football structure as well. Then Manchester United, I think, are in good hands here. I really do think that if United feel like they can get this deal done, we'll see this and they'll go all in January. United should put in a massive offer. United should put in a massive offer. He's that good. He could be the difference between a European place and not qualifying. It's a fair point. But then you move down. Anderson is overrated, says Michael. I love it when the debate gets going. Put a massive bid in on him. This could be the difference. No, we don't want him. He's crap. Michael there is saying he's flavour of the month. I don't think he's flavour of the month, mate. I think he has been knocking on the international door and has got into the international fold from his performances. Last season, he was fantastic for Nottingham Forest. He took advantage of a situation early doors with a player being injured for Forest and never looked back. Fantastic. And he was a big part of Nottingham Forest challenging for the Champions League places. There is no flavour of the month to talk about here. He's an actual consistent performer at the highest level. So I do think that this is why Manchester United is seriously looking at him. Look, we do want to move on as well with other news and what is happening around Manchester United. Quickly, last night, great news, not just in the under-21s and Shea Lacey's performance, which we'll talk about in a minute. Keep your comments coming in on everything going on with Anderson as well, everybody. But also, when it comes to Sekou Kone, he came on last night as well in the midfield for the under-21s in the EFL Cup. So fantastic news for Manchester United that we have got Shea Lacey in such good form. If you haven't seen the highlights from last night, go watch them. Brilliant assist, by the way, and good centre-forward play from Chido, which might go underrated last night because it's all about Shea Lacey at the moment. He is the talk of the town within Manchester United. But good work from Chido as well in that. He is maturing and he's making the right decisions. If you remember back to a few months into the season, a few months ago, start of the season, when the under-21s were just kick-starting, there was a report that came out from Travis Binion, which was on Chido, about his decision-making. Less greedy, making the right choices. And again, you could see this in his build-up play last night. And the lovely little loop ball over the top for Shea Lacey, who buries the ball, by the way. Fantastic finish. But that is another positive to bring in as well. Let's not forget that obviously Chido was upset that he'd now had to go back to the under-21s. He had a taste of the high life and now he's had to go back down. Man United have got good people working in there in the academy. And it does look like Chido was definitely used this as an opportunity to try and, let's just say, enhance his chances of getting back into the first team squad. Keeping his head down, just playing his football and doing well. It's a good sign that Manchester United have got these players where they need them to be. And like we said last night, Ruben Amorim, Jason Wilcox are taking a personal approach to dealing with Shea Lacey's progress into Manchester United's first team. Is this what's going to happen? Like, they nurse their players through, they manage their minutes in the 21s, and they develop a pathway for them to come into Manchester United's first team. Last night, we spoke about the fact that the report coming out from Manchester United, from Nate Salt, who follows Manchester United's under-18s and under-21s week in, week out, was that Shea Lacey is going to be in as a replacement when the likes of Nus Mazraoui, Ahmad and Brian Mbeumo leave for AFCON on December 21st. So we can expect to see Shea Lacey potentially in the latter weeks of December for Manchester United when the fixtures pile up and we lose a few players. That's what's being said. But again, the structure of the academy now is definitely coming through and we're seeing the benefits of it. Kone last night getting minutes is just the icing on the cake, really. He is a player that probably will be thought of potentially as coming into Man United's first team. We did a show the other day and a video the other day saying he's not ready yet. And he isn't ready yet because he's come back off a 2-month layoff from fracturing his cheekbone. So he still needs to catch up to speed and probably won't be as close as what Shea Lacey is right now for Manchester United. And I feel like this is probably the best position that Manchester United have been in with their academy players for a long, long time. Because Kone coming back is great, injury out the way, and now looking forward to getting more minutes. And Shea Lacey obviously is now injury-free, playing fantastic, and is training consistently with the first team as well. And he's under this new, well, I would say new, but I'm guessing it's new because we've never heard anything like this before for Man United's academy for players coming through. But if the bigger people at United like Ruben and Wilcox are taking it upon themselves to bring Shea Lacey through this personal approach to helping him through into Man United's first team, then it does clearly show that there is something that is being sort of built at United in terms of how they assess academy players. Now we heard, of course, that he was left out of the under-21 squad for first team reasons last week, and this was part of the plan from Wilcox and Ruben Amorim. But again, if you haven't seen Manchester United's footage from last night, go watch it. Shea Lacey doing all sorts. Lacey for wing-back, says Robbie in the chat. I don't think he's wing-back material, I'll be honest. I think he's more thought of a 10 sort of replacement, maybe. Look, I don't know. He might mix in between. There is a plan, like I said, between Ruben, Wilcox, and obviously Travis Binion, the under-21 coach, and we will see how that develops and where Shea Lacey turns up, who he comes on for, I'm guessing off the bench, if he does actually show up for Manchester United's first team. So that's what I think is probably going to happen going forward. But again, like Shea Lacey mixing and mingling with plenty of other quality under-21 players at the moment. I can see someone there mentioning Delaney, another midfielder for Manchester United, captain of the under-21s as well. Another fantastic player who just holds things together in that midfield. We've talked about Jimmy Thwaites and Sekou Kone there as well. Manchester United, 2 midfielders in this January/summer in the transfer market. The rest might be saved by bringing academy players through into the squad as well. 2 definitely, though. We definitely need 2 players in. And obviously, get into the chat and let me know your thoughts on the Elliot Anderson situation and what's actually going on right now and what you think is going to be the outcome of it anyway. Get in there. Let me know your thoughts, please, everybody. Let's get in there now and see. It's just Manchester United's luck that Spurs get a 4-0 win just before they show up. I would rather that happen, honestly. I would rather Spurs be going into this game a little bit more confident because Copenhagen are crap. They are basically rock bottom of that Champions League phase right now. So don't look at that game as Spurs are back. They had to beat Copenhagen last night. And I'm glad the rallying call has already been made. Like, they've got that win. And, yeah, let's just see what they do now. Let's not forget, they won their other home game in the Champions League already. It's the league form. Maybe it takes their eye off the ball again a little bit and doesn't focus them in as much on Manchester United. So I'm actually happy that Spurs got the win last night. I think it puts us in a better position going forward. Let's see. Condolences to the family of Radnik, 1923 manager who passed away. I didn't know that. Sorry. Yes, but well said. I've watched Anderson for 3 years now with England, and he is ultra consistent and is getting better. His strength is solving problems, so he goes under the radar. He will turn out a Keane or Gerrard. Big words from ATKO there on Elliot Anderson. I mean, yeah, look, let's see. Let's see how this develops and let's see if he does turn out. I said last night with Elliot Anderson and the new transfer structure of Manchester United, what we spoke about last week in the 2 rules in terms of what Manchester United look for in a player now. It is the characteristics, captain material, and something different. A press-resistant, energetic, passing quality midfielder in Man United's team. Yeah, that is something different. And yeah, I would take that right now. Please get your thoughts in on Anderson's price as well, everybody. I'm just going to check the poll right now. So the question I asked on the poll was, how much do you think Elliot Anderson will cost if he moves? 60 to 70 million, 70 to 80 million, or more than 80 million. At the moment, 60 to 70 million is just about scraping it. 43% of the vote is with that. 70 to 80 million has got 42% of the vote. 15% of you think that he's going to cost more than 80 million. So I think what we're saying is there's a range between 60 and 80 million. And the report that we were talking about this morning on Elliot Anderson is that United are around about 60 and Forest are in and around 80 million for Anderson. So there you go. Pretty much on the poll itself, he's in that bracket, and that's what people are thinking in terms of what Elliot Anderson is going to cost. So let's just see how that one goes price-wise anyway. Please keep popping your likes on the video as well, everybody. Thank you so much for everyone who has already done that as well. Let's see if we can get over 300 likes on this morning's show, everyone. Not too far away now. Let's get some more comments in as well. Adam, isn't Anderson more of a 10 than a 6? No, mate. He is a 6, and that's where Tuchel is playing him as well. I reckon he's a 6/8, Sean, to be honest. He goes deep, he collects the ball, and he starts moves off. I watched him against Real Betis in the Europa League earlier on this season. Literally ran the show from the back line. He was on the back 4, picking up the ball and just driving forward with the ball. He is the perfect player for Manchester United to put in right now. If you are going to put someone who is disciplined and can play the 6/8 role next to Bruno Fernandes to give him freedom, and then bring another centre-back in behind Anderson when he wants to do his marauding runs forward as well, which he can do, then Anderson is the perfect player to bring in for Manchester United right now. This season is... I'm not even going to talk about it because I still don't know if it's going to happen, and I'm not confident yet. I like the noises that are coming out, I do, but I'm still not there yet. I'm not fully convinced that the deal could happen. So let's just look at this and say that Elliot Anderson wants to go United. Financially, Forest need to sell him. Looking at their financial figures, the price isn't completely out of, any sort of limit to Manchester United. Like 80 million max. Let's just say that's where it's at. I think United will probably end up getting him in at around about 70 plus million. Personally, I don't think that's a bad price for a Prem-proven player now, and he's young. And we have got longevity in this deal as well. That's the thing. And it fits what Ruben said. No quick fix players. We want actual players that are going to be in Man United's first team past this season. And that's where we're at with it. Anderson will be the perfect player with Stiller, Adam. Maybe. Stiller talk is probably for the summer. I'm pretty certain from what Romano was saying on him that it is a summer transfer potentially for Man United, that one, because Stuttgart don't want to sell in January. Again, I don't know. Things have happened in the January transfer window before, and teams in Germany have sold players before as well. We've got nearly 1,000 votes on that poll as well now, so keep voting on that, please, everybody. We'll leave it running. 60 to 70 million is now starting to run away with your with your vote on that one in terms of what you think Elliot Anderson will be sold for. Let's see what else we've got in the chat here quickly. Anderson isn't enough for our midfield. Still need an enforcer type, someone like a Felix and Mecca. No, Anderson is enough for this season, mate, I would say. And then we would probably go and buy another one in the summer. We can't get too excited and say we're going to go and get 2 midfielders this January. I don't think that is realistic at all. We'd be lucky to get one, is what I think. I think if we manage to pull this off, which, again, still sceptical, then I would be absolutely ecstatic. It would be brilliant news for Manchester United. And like I said before, if United got Anderson this January, you're fighting for the top 4. That's it. Like, that's how good a signing that would be mid-season. Probably one of Man United's best to get that done in the January window, 100%. Darryl says, Elliot Anderson is the perfect fit for us. Always on the move, always available, always demanding the ball, and has the ability to move the ball accurately and quickly through the lines forward. He's a perfect 6. And again, the adaptability from 6 to 8 and being the creator and the starter of moves is exact profile that Manchester United need right now, I think, for him. Looking ahead as well, going into a bit of other news. Also, we touched on Kone there as well. Leacher, who is thought to be the man coming through into that midfield from centre-back when he comes back into the side, i.e. Ruben Amorim centre-back that steps forward. He's going to be sent on international duty. Now, a few people have already picked up on this and gone, why is he going on international? He's not playing. But Manchester United apparently are feeling like a more intense environment over in Argentina for Leacher to train for a couple of weeks is better than being on his own at Carrington with the Man United staff. So there is thought coming through that Leacher will be sent on international duty this break after this weekend with Argentina. Whether you think that's right or not, I mean, get your thoughts into that. If he's not playing and he's just training, is that better for Leacher just to keep him on that training pathway, playing first team? Well, playing in first team training, and obviously it's got to be helping him. I would say, is that right? Should we always be like looking at this and saying this is a risk in sending players away? Can we always be like soft soaping our players? I think Manchester United have given Leacher the proper amount of recovery time and made sure that his training has been right. He'd be training all this week as well with Manchester United. So this would be now like going into like a week and a half of first team training for Leacher. I think it's right that he does get sent on international duty and continues that. And the word is that they want the training to be intense still for him, and he can continue then through from the international break, and then potentially he could be playing in that Everton game when we come back on the Monday Night Football. So let me know your thoughts on that as well in the chat, everybody, and let me know what you're thinking regarding the potential of Leach going out on international break. Is that the right call for United? A few more comments coming in. I'm going to get through as many as I can now for you all as well. Could we get Anderson and Gehi? Palace willing to sell him in January rather than see him walk away for free in the summer. And now that would be a fantastic January window. It would, Andrew, but the word coming out from Palace is they would rather let him go for free than sell him in January. So, again, United are in the mix. I think we'd need Champions League football, or be able to offer Champions League football to get Mark Gehi on a free in the summer with the competition that's in for him. I think United will be up there in one of the best contracts to offer Mark Gehi, but if we can't get him in January, I don't think. There just hasn't been enough. Like, we know that Man United are in for Gehi, but if it's with everyone else in the summer, you look at Bayern Munich. By the way, Bayern Munich, 16 wins in a row. First team ever to do that from the start of a season. Wow. What a result last night for them against PSG as well. That is absolutely crazy. Anderson has a higher ceiling than Rice, so I don't mind spending 100 million on a player that will last for over a decade. That is still a lot of money, Oculus, though, isn't it? 100 million for Anderson? I don't think he's worth that. I don't. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, you've got to pay the right price to get the best players in, and potential and young players are going at a premium now. Potential young players with Premier League experience, they are the ultimate premium transfer player, aren't they? And that, I think, is what we've got here with Elliot Anderson. Wharton and Belaber as well. But if United take advantage here of the financial situation we've spoken about with Nottingham Forest, then I think this could go down as one of Man United's best transfers, and one of our biggest as well. I think Bruno Fernandes was bought in the January transfer window. Could we be getting another midfielder? Years and years down the line, another one to make it work for Manchester United. That will be interesting. Adam, Elliot Anderson, 70 million, take it or leave it. Prem-proven England international, bargain. Then a cheeky bid for Wharton at 65 million. Same terms as Anderson, just saying. Look, summertime, maybe. I would love to see them too. I think Leach will be on the bench on Saturday, says Tomo. Perhaps he is knocking on Ruben's door. Ruben has obviously spoken about this and said he's had to hold Leach back from trying to get into Man United's first team squad. Look, if he's trained all week this week, then yeah, I could actually see. And I'm talking full team training here as well. Ruben won't put him on the bench if he's only featuring in, let's just say, the fitness drills and warm-up sessions. So sometimes you'll see pictures of players training with the first team that have come back from injury, but they're only in the warm-ups at the start of the sessions, and then they go and do their own thing. If he is involved in full training, i.e. every single drill that the team are doing this week, then Leacho will be on the bench at weekend, yes. We just don't know at the moment. Don't forget, I think it's Friday, the press conference. Last week, it was on Thursday. I doubt it will be Thursday again. I think it will be Friday. But then again, United have got the early kickoff this weekend, so we might have the press conference tomorrow. We will see. But obviously, we're expecting Ruben Amorim to fully update us on the Lisandro Martinez injury as well, going into that press conference. And when he is back, that is everybody back fit and available for Manchester United. So, full team to select from, it would seem, for United going into the Spurs game this weekend. That's true about Gehi, but once we fully get rid of Anana and others and finish higher in the table, it could possibly be a maybe. Yeah, look, I never say never. United are in, and we are always going to be in for that type of player if he's available. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. He will be a Manchester United target, and I think it's just going to be difficult in the summer for him. It is. Spurs looking at a bit of an injury list going into the game this weekend. Bergvall and Gray definitely out. We know about Kulusevski, no Madison, no Solanke. Obviously, for them, either long-term absentees. Spurs won last night. I said this before. I don't think Spurs beating Copenhagen is a bad thing for Manchester United going into this weekend's game. I would rather them be feeling a little bit more upbeat about themselves. It just takes the focus away from the necessary job in hand. Like, Forest needed a result. first Premier League game at home for Sean Dyche, and they needed a result. European football, I think, is totally different, and Copenhagen are crap. Just to put it bluntly, they're awful, and I don't think Manchester United will be overly worried about Spurs beating them at home. They needed a result after the Chelsea game, and they got one last night. So, look, that's that done now, and then the focus moves on. Yeah, they could be in a bit more of a confident mood going in, but I would rather play teams that are playing okay than going in against teams that are on bad form, away from home anyway, because they always seem to raise their game against Manchester United when they need a result. Now they've got a result and they've got a home win and the atmosphere is a little bit better. I prefer that completely. I mean, give me your thoughts on that. I mean, where are you at? Like, I look at things a lot and I go a little bit too deep probably with Man United. I always feel like we get the new manager bounce. Me and Kaz were talking about this the other day actually. It seems to be every time a new manager comes in to the Premier League, United have got them coming. And I'm like that. I'm looking at Wolves right now and I'm going, December the 8th. We've got at least a month, and I'm thinking, right, we've missed that one. Someone should be in at Wolves over the international break, and then the new manager bounce will have just fizzled out by the time that Manchester United come to town. By the way, Michael Carrick and Eric Ten Hag still in for that Wolves job, by the way. Still talk. Gary O'Neill has ruled himself out of a move to Wolves again. And so, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who we're up against when we play Wolves in December. So I'm okay with that one though, but it does my head in. It does my head in that United always seem to come up against these moments for clubs and they need a result and it's at home to Man United every single time. Do you not think that as a fan? Like, we always get that ridiculous draw. Oh, we always get that club that are looking for that big win in that moment in their season. It always comes around with United. It's a pain in the ass. We'll get new manager bounce with Wolves too. I don't think we will there. I think because they're going to bring someone in before, and we've got another month yet before we play Wolves. So I think the new manager bounce thing would have obviously. I'm hoping it would have fizzled out anyway. Adam, could we bring Chido in to compete with Sesko or give him a championship loan as it's physical? Would love him at Millwall. Chido on a loan, maybe at the end of this season, if he doesn't shine in pre-season for Manchester United. I don't think he's going to get into Man United's first team this year. I don't think he's ready. I watched him last season. Good signs, good attributes. I watched him in pre-season, didn't get a minute. He got some time against Leeds in the first pre-season game in the summer. Not really much to talk about. I just think Manchester United have just taken him back to let him work on his game. Let's not forget, he's still 17 and playing in the under-21s. So he's still got years on everybody else. Maybe a loan would be good for him. A right loan at the right club. Maybe at the end of the season, I would say, for Chido. He's not going to feature this season unless we are decimated with injuries at some point. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Makes no difference with United. If Spurs won or not, it will still be a difficult game. Of course it will. It's Man United. I agree, Adam, with Spurs winning last night was better for United, as if they'd lost. I think they'd be all guns blazing against us on Saturday. I think it just takes the focus off a little bit. It lowers your sense of, let's just say, importance, I think, as a player. Like, you got the win, big deep breath. Whereas if they'd have lost and they'd have continued this bit of a bad form going in, like, that's it, now this is it. Last game before the international break, at home, we're going to win this one. And just for Thomas Frank, it's United. I just think the focus might have been deflected away a little bit, which is good news for Manchester United. Adam Rigehi again. Clubs will be able to speak to him about a pre-contract agreement from January. He'd be absolutely perfect behind Anderson. We cannot speak to him, no. Clubs from overseas, outside of the Premier League, are the only ones allowed to speak to Mark Gehi in January. Premier League clubs are not allowed until his contract ends. So no pre-contract agreement can be discussed with any Premier League side as of the rules of the Premier League. So this is why you're hearing a lot about Bayern Munich. They're free agent masters. you could say. They have got form for this Bayern Munich, and I think they will take advantage of that situation. I do believe they will. Anyway, everybody, that is our show this morning. Everything completely up to date on Elliot Anderson, Shea Lacey, Sekikoni getting minutes as well. A bit of a look ahead to Spurs. Leacher going on international duty as well with Argentina to boost his training and fitness levels. Get your thoughts in on all of them, please. The poll results, over 1,200 votes on the poll. Thank you, everybody. How much do you think Elliot Anderson will cost if he moves? The winner of that is 60 to 70 million. With 45% of the votes. 40% of you think 70 to 80. More than 80 million, 15% of that vote. Thank you, everybody, for being involved in the show. Great comments this morning. Thank you for all the super chats, new subscribers. If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. Pop a like on the video if you enjoyed the show this morning, please, everybody. That'll take us over 300 likes, and the target has been hit. I will be back with you later on with all the Manchester United updates. If anything does break throughout the day, I will be there as well to bring you the news. But until then, I'll see you all later. Have a fantastic Wednesday, everyone.